Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So I wanted to talk about Coco Brown. I found out last week actually that her home actually burnt down in Fayetteville, Georgia. They said that there is nothing left. Her friends, basically other comedians, they actually set up a GoFundMe for her. And, fortunately, she was able to get enough money to get back up on her feet. I know I see some people online are criticizing about the insurance and all this other kind of stuff. I'm not sure if she had insurance or not. What I did find out, though, at the New York Association of Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Caucus is that there are some insurances that are eliminating fire. And some of them are not paying out as much as they used to when it comes to fires. Like some of them are only given 1%. So in other words, if you have a $300,000 house and the house catches a fire, guess what? They only giving you $3,000, which is why many people are turning to GoFundMe. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. And because of that, guess what? Your girl had to check her insurance company to make sure she is fully covered. All right? Because you never know when things can happen. These are not things that are planned, right? So as far as the cause of the fire, she says that it might have been due to a lit candle that fell on some clothes. They claim that she did have a fire extinguisher, but it was just too late for her to take care of it. The fire had gone crazy, had gone wild, out of control. So she grabbed her son and her purse, the two dogs, and walked out the house before it all collapsed. Let me tell you this, my coworker who was in a fire, actually, she wasn't the cause of it. The cause was from her neighbor. Okay. She says that a fire can go through a house really fast, like you don't have no time whatsoever. You have to just get up and go. Anytime you waste, that's your life. Okay, so the fact that Coco Brown made it out alive with her son, kudos to her. Kudos to her. God bless her. Okay. It is a devastating, traumatic experience. It is nothing to play with at all, from my understanding. Now, as far as the lit candle, it doesn't seem as though she's sure that that was the cause of it, but I will tell you this. I did have my local fire department come in and give me an assessment. And one of the things that they did point out was candles. Candles can be very dangerous, even though they set the mood and they look real romantic. You got to be careful with those, okay? I know one time I did have a candle lit. I was in the same room as the candle, and I didn't know it was faulty until the fire just went straight up to the ceiling. Luckily, I was in the room at the time and we were able to take it out. But if we weren't in the room, it would have been a different story. I probably wouldn't even be here to talk to you guys at all. All right. So please be careful with these candles. Blow them out if you're not going to be in the same room as them, if this is the case. And the other thing I want to say is this. When it comes to fire extinguishers, right, you got to check that pressure every 5 to 10 years, because that pressure does go out and after a while it won't work anymore. Okay, I'm not trying to say anything negative against Coco Brown, because I'm not clear about the whole situation. I'm just trying to use what happened to her as a teaching moment. It's a teaching moment, not just for you guys, but it's also a teaching moment for myself as well. Okay. And I want to also give a special shout out to Sherry Shepard, Marlon Wayans, and Tyler Perry, because they raised a lot of money and also donated a lot of money to her. Tyler alone gave $400,000. So that is definitely a blessing. And I'm just really happy that people pulled together to do something in unity that was positive for their friend. All right. Now, unfortunately, many of us don't have rich friends like this. Okay. So we do have, yes, we have our insurance. Everybody, make sure your insurance is still covering your house for fire. Okay. Let's get that clear. And then also see how much will they be covering. What is the deductible? Hello, somebody. Okay. So that we don't get that sticker shock at the end. All right. Normally, a fire insurance claim, which is something that you should do once your property does catch on fire, will pay for the structure, and it pays for some contents. It may not necessarily replace everything. All right. So that is something that you guys need to know. And then the other thing that you guys need to know is this. If you have a retirement account, whether it's with the job or not with the job, you can, for this reason, withdraw money penalty free from those accounts to help you get back up on your feet. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, so that's why I'm spreading the word. All right, next thing that I know is that, from my understanding, she's still staying in a hotel. Okay, now, again, some of you may not have the money to stay in a hotel if your house catches a fire. All right, so what you should do, contact your local church or the church that you attend. Contact your Salvation Army or your Red Cross. Sometimes the Salvation Army and the Red Cross has temporary places for you to stay, so to help you get back up on your feet. And some of those temporary places are free. Some you may have to pay a little bit of here and there, but for the most part, they're free from my understanding. You can also go to your local library and use the computers that they have there. Go to benefits.gov, G-O-V, and it will list other services and other agencies in your area that will also help you as far as finding a place to stay temporarily until you can get back up on your feet and find a place to live. All right. Now, another thing, because you guys know I am a short-term rental, mid-term rental, as well as long-term rental host, right? Long-term rental host meaning landlord. Okay, so my property is actually on ALE Solutions. What is ALE Solutions? ALE Solutions is a company that takes people who are paying insurance and they find places for you to live. The insurance will pay the monthly rent until you, again, are able to get back up on your feet. And sometimes they pay for 6 months to 1 year. Again, it depends on your insurance plan. It depends on, whatever your contract says. Okay, so those are the things to do if you find yourself in that predicament. There are other insurance placement companies as well. I don't know them all, but I'm familiar with ALE Solutions because I'm listed with them. All right. Now, the next thing I wanted to cover is the fact that she mentioned that she may have, misplaced, lost all of her financial stuff, right? Okay, so let's go over that real quick. In today's day and age, there are fireproof, waterproof safes, wallets, bags, boxes, file cabinets, and folders. You need to have at least one of what I mentioned up here in your home. It's imperative, especially if you own a business, especially if you have kids. Okay? What do you need to keep in those items that I just mentioned? You need school records. Yes, I know today a lot of things are computerized, but when her property burnt down, we found that the schools were not all that great when it came to keeping the kids' records. And it was not good at all. It was a very stressful time trying to put the pieces back together. So keep the school records in there. Your driver's license. Even in cities as like New York City, where we don't really drive that much, most of us, the DMV lines still be long as hell. So keep your driver's license in one of those. Your birth certificate, your passport. I have a malaria card because I like to travel and I wanted to go to certain places. You need also your social security card. Any contract. I'm in business. Contracts is money. So my contracts have to be in a fireproof, waterproof. Well, I have them in a bag, a fireproof, waterproof bag. It only costs $17. It's not a lot, okay? Your wills, your trusts, your mortgages, last year's tax return, and maybe even the year prior to that as well, your insurance card, any custody paperwork you have, marriage paperwork, if you're in the military, your military paperwork, power of attorney, leases, if you have a car, title and registration. Keep all of that in either a fireproof, waterproof wallet, bag, box, file cabinet, or folder. Whatever you can afford, put those things in there. Now, some things can definitely be scanned and saved to, let's say, a zip drive with a password, of course. That would be receipts that you would use to do your taxes, your prescription from, medication that your doctor has given you. You want to also think about taking a photograph of each room in your house, because a lot of times when they come to you and they ask you what was in your place that you lost, you might not remember, especially since you're frantic and everything else like that. But if you have a picture, that's great. And if you can do an inventory of what you have in each room of your house before any disaster happens, and let's, God forbid if any disaster happens, right? It's good to have that inventory, and you want to list every single thing. Don't leave nothing out. Don't say, oh, well, they won't replace this and they won't replace that. Put it down. If it's in the room, put it down. Write it down on a piece of paper, please, and save that on your computer. Save it to a zip drive. Save it to the cloud. Save it somewhere so that it can be easily obtained. And listen, don't depend on other businesses and say, oh, well, we live in a digital world and, my contracts are over here and I know that my lawyer will have my contract. Listen, businesses go out of business. And when they go out of business, trust me, they shred the paperwork. They throw the paperwork away. They don't always keep their paperwork. They really don't. I'm in a situation right now where I bought a note from someone and that person bought a note from someone, and the person they bought the note from is no longer in business. And that person did not record the note. So now I can't record that note. So now I'm looking for a lawyer that will quiet the title so that I can get that property. So that I can get that note, excuse me. So anyway, this is why you need to have your own records for yourself and not depend on someone else. Now, yeah, if you have a bank, like a big bank, right, then they probably will have your records. But, even still, even some of these big banks, sometimes they make a mistake. And you can't prove that the mistake was made if you don't have the paperwork to prove it. So, again, do your best that you can do and have all of this recorded and saved somewhere so that, again, heaven forbid, God forbid, if anything like this happens, you are prepared. All right? What we can do, not just talk about what happens to other people, but learn and apply it to our own lives so that in case it does, where we can bounce back, if you will. All right. So again, I would like to give kudos to all of the comedians who got together, all of the fans who got together and helped Coco Brown. Money is one thing, but the other part, of course, is, your spirit, your mind, your mental health. So let's just keep everyone, including her son, who seems fairly young. Even to be honest with you, I'm not too familiar with pets, but I understand that, pets, some of them have anxiety issues as well. Keep everybody in prayer. And then most importantly, of course, keep yourself in prayer as well. So guys, that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. Hopefully the information will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass this along. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.